Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, the 8th of March. I don't know about you, we've got several inches of snow outside on the ground down here in Devon. So I don't know if you've looked up the window this morning. It's 7:45, so hopefully you have by now. Some of you working from home might still be sneaking around in your pajamas. I've been up not for very long, but I've got my coffee and I'm ready to go. Hope you've got your coffee going. Before we get into this morning, which is going to be interesting, talking about Foxtons and yesterday's Halifax house price news as well. I keep forgetting to remind everybody that you can now listen to the daily Best Agent Breakfast Show on audio podcast. It's the Best Agent Breakfast Show podcast, or the Best Agent Estate Agency podcast. It's on all the channels: Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever you get your podcasts. It's on all the channels. And immediately after the show has ended, or within a few minutes, I upload the link to the audio podcast of this show in the description of this video. So if you can't sit here and watch me blathering on about the estate agency industry every morning, and it's more helpful to listen to me when you're in the car or something, just thought I'd let you know that. Okay, so welcome and thank you. This week the viewing figures have really taken off. And so welcome especially to any estate agents and any new estate agents watching this morning. I would love you to think of this as your morning meeting, especially for those of you who don't have a team to sit down with in the morning, because that's great fun, isn't it? If you're working on your own, then consider this your morning meeting and chime in with questions. Send me your questions about the estate agency industry. I get a lot of private questions from agents and a lot of comments, both positive and negative, sent privately. Actually, the positive ones tend to come privately, and the negative ones tend to be public. But hey. So just a quick reminder for those of you who aren't going to watch all of this morning's podcast, that the most effective way as we head into this battle for transactions, which is what smart agents are doing, you've got deals, offers, viewings, and instructions. That's the approach to your day. 4 different things you could be doing: working on the instructions, working on getting viewings, working on getting offers or chasing up offers, or progressing deals. And because how long it takes to get to the deal stage, the most expensive thing that can happen to any estate agent is for a deal to fall through, which is why it makes sense, if you do the maths, it makes sense that every morning before you start following up leads and new leads, that kind of stuff, that you begin by progressing your deals. I was at a talk given by the late Ivor Dickinson, the former MD of Douglas and Gordon, back in the early 2000s, where he pulled up their data and showed a direct correlation in the graph between the time between offer accepted and exchange, and the greater that time, then the higher the chance of a fall through. It was a really, really straight line. And I've actually there's a story out yesterday on Property Industry Eye that I'll just share with you very briefly, where it talks about the fact that at the moment, the average length of time to sell a home is increasing. All right, that's time to sell, not time to exchange. But that's also interesting news, because you've got to factor your cost is your time, and the longer time it takes, the longer the costs are of selling the properties. Anyway, straight on with that. So start with your deals, chase up your deals first, always, and I'll go into more detail on that at the end of this video. But let's get into, so yes, today on Estate Agency Today, Mark Schoffman has done an article in response to yesterday's Halifax House Price Index, which showed that for Halifax, for the roughly 12-15% of transactions that Halifax is responsible for, month-on-month house prices actually rose by 1.1% on a monthly basis from January. Now, this is seasonally adjusted, which means it's not the actual number of things. It's not the actual index; it's a seasonally adjusted index, which means seasonally adjusted smooths everything out. Actual is more spiky changes month on month. And with lower transaction volumes that we know we're having because of the Bank of England mortgage data in January, I would urge you all to avoid making the mistake of going out with this and saying, see, Halifax says house prices are going up. okay? Because if you look at the actual drivers of house prices, which is number one, interest rates, despite everybody wishing for them to go down, remember, hope is not a strategy. They are creeping up and creeping up. And if you look here, the 2-year rates just in the last couple of days, creeping up another 0.05%, and 5-year rates, well, they've actually leveled off since yesterday. They in the last week, they've crept up. And the last month, they've gone up over 0.5% or almost 0.5%. So there is quite sharp increases happening in the short term, the 1-year and 2-year SONIA swap rates, which is where the mortgage market borrows its money to lend mortgages. On top of that, on the international marketplace, this story is on Bloomberg this morning, where although investors haven't, I mean, who knew, right? Investors don't like high interest rates for the economy. They are now accepting the fact that globally, they are probably going to go higher than anybody wanted. And if that happens in America, it spreads around the place. So all of a sudden, the prospect of rates hitting 6% in America is becoming real enough for investors to rethink their strategies. Right, guys? So that's the bigger picture. So I would urge against, because if you say house prices are going up and then they don't and they continue down, which is what all of the long list of indicators is showing, is that they will go down, you're only going to damage your own credibility in the eyes of your customers. So I wouldn't cling to 1 month. Okay, 1 month does not make a trend. Now, on to the main story of the day, which I will also begin with another slurp of my lovely coffee. So, some of you may have heard Guy Gittins, the new Foxtons chief executive, on Radio 4 yesterday morning. And I heard him, and it struck me. It reminded me, his attitude, his tone, his energy, the message reminded me why they've put him back in there and where he came from. So Guy Gittins started his estate agency career at Foxtons 20 years ago. I don't know Guy, I've never met him. We've had a message on LinkedIn. And I do hope to talk to him, actually. I think he's a fascinating guy. But given the fact that we're going into contracting, a shrinking number of transactions, and given the fact that we know that well-funded large brands will always become more aggressive with their market share activities and their competitive activities, and given the fact that in London, since Foxtons went public, it's kind of become a bit bloated and lazy compared to what it was before. Because for those of you who don't know, in the late night, actually all of the 90s and the 2000s, the noughties, and up until Foxtons went public, it was by far the fastest growing estate agency, if not the country, and certainly in London. I mean, it went from, when I first knew Foxtons, I think there were 3 branches or maybe 4 branches, and now it's a big company. And what's worth bearing in mind, if you are an agent that competes against Foxtons in London, and frankly, who doesn't, is that the boys are back in town, if you know what I mean by that. So the aggressive nature of Foxtons' growth. So I remember Bloomberg, shortly after Foxtons went public, Bloomberg did a TV article reporting on it. And they said the thing that you've got to understand about Foxtons is that Foxtons is not so much an estate agency as it is a sales organization. And I thought that was an excellent analogy of Foxtons, because I remember every single step of the way, from the way I mean, some of you will remember this, right? If you registered with Foxtons as an applicant back in the noughties, you would be telephoned every single day until you'd taken a mortgage or bought a property or done a thing. You would be phoned every day, whether it was the financial services, Alexander Hall trying to get you a mortgage, they would be all over you. And why not, right? That's effective. It's very effective. That's why they grew so fast. Foxtons was, in my view, the least lazy estate agent. It was, I mean, you just didn't keep your job at Foxtons if you were lazy in those days. They were ruthless. Now, I'm not condoning any of this or saying that it's a good thing. If anything, I'm giving the heads up warning that I think Guy Gittins is going to bring back that culture to Foxtons. He is, in his statement he put out yesterday, which is here, and let me just get it back up on the screen for you. So this is on Estate Agent Today yesterday. He talks about rediscovering their DNA. Okay, And he goes in, and it's worth reading that article if you haven't read it. I'm sorry, it's not linked below yet, but it's yesterday's Estate Agency Today. It's worth reading it all. And he puts in like punchy numbers, trading and outlook, and their objectives. They just bought Atkinson McLeod. Atkinson McLeod used to be clients of mine back in the day. Lovely guys, Dan McLeod, really, really nice clients. And so congratulations to them on selling their business if that's what they wanted. And Foxtons is buying up, like it bought the D&G lettings book, right? That's one of the reasons that its figures have gone up so much, it's looking so strong, is because lettings management income, as you know, is very, very healthy income during a sales market downturn. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that this is a good thing, even for the market, because Foxtons' model was list everything, and even if you only sell 1 in 4, their sales figures will go up with their high fees, right? They are brutal, they are ruthless. Now that they're a publicly listed company, they'll have to behave better than they did before, when they definitely used to break a lot of the rules. My God. I mean, how they used to treat their suppliers, their surveyors, how they used to extract mortgage valuations that were really hard, and they should have been back in the early days, is stuff I'll never forget. How they used to, like, remember the stories of them tearing down competitors' boards? Okay, they're not like that anymore, and I'm not suggesting that they are. Let me be very, very clear. Foxtons is a legit above board company now, but it's now going to have a very interesting future. So I'd be watching out that. But remember this, okay? The battle will be won on the battleground of transactions, not the battleground of instructions. Ignore the most unrealistic sellers. Walk away. Let other agents take them. Let the Foxtons take those guys. Right? Let the corporates who don't care, they just want to list the numbers, take those overvaluing guys. Okay, it's just going to cost them money and time. And just stick to listing properties that you know you can sell. All right. So that's my view of Foxtons. Anyone got any questions or comments on the Foxtons? Guys, this is an estate agency channel, right? This the Best Agent YouTube channel is here for estate agents only. Everyone's welcome to watch it, but I'm here for estate agents taking estate agency questions. So I won't be taking any mover questions here. If you want mover questions, please continue trying to put them in the Moving Over Charlie one. Yes, Alistair, I do remember the chop era of Foxtons. Yeah, no, everyone's welcome to watch these, estate agents or not, but I'm here for estate agents. Now, just a tip of the day, right? That especially in tough times will make your estate agency more profitable, more resilient to a downturn, is if you very strictly follow what I call the DOVI process, D-O-V-I, deals, offers, viewings, instructions. That should be your order of priority at all times, unless you've got an actual appointment, of course, that's different. But when you're at your desk thinking, what should I do next? Have I followed up all of my deals? Have I chased and progressed all of my deals? And if you do that first, whether it's an email or a phone call to the solicitor or the conveyancer or the buyer to chase anyone up, those are the most valuable, financially valuable phone calls that you will make. All right. I know you might think to yourself, no, it's more valuable to get more instructions because then I get more fees. It's not the case, because if you look at the conversion ratio of phone calls to try and get instructions compared to phone calls progressing deals, if you do the maths, if you just crunch the numbers, progressing deals that need progressing or would benefit from progressing will always be the most profitable phone call you can make. I promise you. If you don't understand the maths on that, I'll go into it in more detail, perhaps on another video. Only when you know your deals are chased up, then switch to chasing up any offers. Have you got any offers you're expecting to hear from buyers? Have you had any offers that you haven't had an answer from the clients yet? Those are the ones to chase up. So chasing your offers will get you over the line to getting more deals agreed. Only when you've chased up all your offers, then are there any viewings that you could be booking? Are there any applicants you'd be talking to get booked in on viewings? Are there any viewings you need to get feedback on? So then deal with your viewings. And only when you've done the deals chased up, offers chased up and progressed to deals, viewings chased up and progressed to offers, only when you've done those three things, which will take you a lot of time, right? Only then should you turn your attention to getting more instructions. And one of the reasons for that is, as with the agent I was with recently, who has followed that process under my advice for the last decade, 2/3 of all their new instructions now come through recommendation and referral, because they focus on getting the deals and the offers and the viewings done, which, if for their customers, just feels like great service. Just great service. We get phoned back by the agent. They're on top of our deal. They're on top of our case. It's one of the rare agents that does that. So if you follow the DOVI method, DOVI, deals, offers, viewings, instructions, you will end up getting more unexpected business through referral than you've ever had. So that's why not only does that DOVI method help you in the short term, it also grows your business in the long term as well. Now, on that happy note, I'm going to wrap it up. I do try and keep these morning breakfast shows a bit shorter, so you can crack on with your day. Have a great day. Got any questions, you can message me privately. Find me on LinkedIn if you're an agent, if you've got questions. If you haven't already done so, please do set up your Best Agent account, your back office account, so that you'll make sure you get your leads from Best Agent, the viewing. And we actually had a record day for instruction leads yesterday, which, by the way, I had a phone call from an agent yesterday saying it's gone nuts. He said, suddenly I'm getting sellers phoning up saying, he said, I'm running around doing valuations from two groups of sellers. Number one, people who are going, actually, we've decided we should sell quite quickly. And number two, sellers who've been on with the corporates who just aren't getting many viewings and are fed up with the corporates. He's an independent agent. So we are starting to get record instruction leads through Best Agent. So make sure you're getting them, right? If you haven't got your back office account set up, you may or may not be getting them. We do send them out to all the relevant local agents, but if you haven't got your account activated, you won't get them as quickly as people that do have them activated. So activate your back office account at bestagent.co.uk/agents. You will get free telephone leads from your property listings on the Best Agent site. You haven't got to do anything. Your listing's already there. For those of you worrying about some of the out-of-date listings, that problem has been identified and is being solved. There are roughly 2 million listings, including all of the under offer stock as well, on both sales and lettings added up together. So it does take a while to get through all of that, but we will get there so that it's all up to date. And then your viewing and your instruction leads, if you've got your back office account activated, will bypass the verification stage they have to go through if you haven't, so you'll get the leads quicker than other agents, and you'll make sure that the leads are going to the email address you want them to go to. So do set up your back office account, guys. There's no subscription, there's no cost, there's no risk. Once you've got it set up, there's no work. You sit back and wait for the leads, and when the leads come in, if you like them, buy them. If you don't, decline them. Simple as that. Any questions on that, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow on the breakfast show. Until then, best of luck. Bye-bye.